All right, so let's get right into it. So I want to start off by, some of you might have seen this yellow quote that was up on some of our flyers. This is such a big topic that honestly, the biggest problem I had with preparing this presentation was not talking to you for 3 hours. So I whittled it down to 2 hours, so no. It'll probably be only about an hour. But this quote is from Dr. David Allen, who's a retired cardiac surgeon and a cannabinoid research scientist. And his quote is that the discovery of the endocannabinoid system is the single most important medical scientific discovery ever and will save more lives than the discovery and application of sterile surgical technique. And so for those of you that aren't familiar with what he's referring to, it used to be a long time ago that surgeons didn't realize that if they did surgery on somebody that had gangrene and they didn't wash their hands and they did surgery on the next person, that they would transmit disease. And so literally, I don't know what the stats are, but probably millions of people died before we discovered scientifically that that wasn't a good thing to do. And so sterile surgical techniques means literally washing your hands, sterilizing your instruments, all those kinds of things. And so, the depth and breadth of the endocannabinoid system is huge. So first of all, many of you, honestly, I'm very humbled that so many people showed up because many of you came here tonight just because you've been patients of mine for a long time, or you know me, or you know Dr. Martins or Dr. Hartman, and you trust us. So I researched the endocannabinoid system and the Ultracell company for about a year before we went live with it here at the clinic. And so the first thing I want to start off is just talking about my criteria, and I would say probably the Natural Family Chiropractic criteria for looking at supplements. So first of all is we want to make sure any supplement we carry that it is safe, that it does no harm. That's like non-negotiable. That's just every supplement we carry has to be that way. We also want to look at, is it effective? Is it the highest quality product you can get? And we want to look at also, is it cost effective? And the big thing to look at with that is return on investment, because you can buy sometimes a cheaper supplement. You can buy a fish oil supplement or a multiple vitamin that's cheaper than ours, but it's what your body absorbs that is really important. Okay, so the first part of the presentation, I'm going to get into going over some, if I turn this on, I'm going to get into going over the basis of why CBD and hemp oil is so powerful. And what it really comes down to is the endocannabinoid system. We're going to talk a little bit about the history of that in a minute, but basically every cell in your body has receptors for cannabinoids. An endocannabinoid means they're the endogenous cannabinoids that your body produces. And so that's why it's going to take me a while to go through some of the research, and you'll see we're going to talk about all different kinds of effects that cannabinoids have on your body, because literally every cell in your body has receptors for these. They're especially found in the brain and nervous system, and those are especially connected to the CBD1 cannabinoids, and then in your immune system that is mostly stimulated by the CBD2 cannabinoids. So if you, after this, want more information, literally just Google the endocannabinoid system and start watching YouTube videos, start looking at Google, go to what's called PubMed, and you'll see a lot of good information. So, but that's the basis of why we're getting such miraculous results with adding phytocannabinoids or CBD hemp oil, because it's stimulating this inborn endocannabinoid system in our body. Now, I'm going to go through some research, and I've highlighted some of the points that I think are especially important. I have to start off by saying that it's really important for me to acknowledge from the beginning that phytocannabinoids or CBD oils are supplements. They're not a drug. And so the reason I say that is the FDA has certain requirements on what we're allowed to claim for drugs versus what we're allowed to claim for supplements. We're not allowed to claim that a supplement cures anything or really treats anything. So all I'm going to do is go through the research. I'm not making any medical claims that any product that we sell cures or treats any specific disease. Okay, so this first one gets to my first criteria, and that is looking at the safety of cannabidiol, which is the chemical name for CBD. So it says, and by the way, most of these studies came from PubMed. If you don't know what PubMed is, it's the repository for scientific literature, and it's controlled by the National Institute of Health. Good place, good legitimate place for looking at research. So it says, in general, the often described favorable safety profile for CBD in humans was confirmed and extended with this reviewed research. In comparison, especially to other drugs used for the treatment of these medical conditions, CBD has a far better side effect profile. As a matter of fact, I would argue that many of the things that they sometimes list as side effects for for CBD are actually beneficial things. But you have to be, for example, let's say somebody has high blood pressure, they might need to use a CBD at a different time of day so that it doesn't cause their blood pressure to drop too low, and then they might need to work with their doctor to make changes that are appropriate with medications. So one of the things that we find clinically with a lot of our patients is they come to us with problems such as sleep problems. So this study talks about that there was preliminary research into cannabis and insomnia that suggests that CBD may have a therapeutic potential for treatment of insomnia. It may also help to benefit with sleep apnea. Okay? So, and again, I'm not making any medical claims. This is just reviewing the literature, reviewing the research here. This one looks at treatment of pain. So numerous randomized clinical trials have demonstrated safety and efficacy for Sativex, which is a cannabinoid supplement or drug, I think it is, in central and peripheral neuropathic pain, rheumatoid arthritis, and cancer pain. So cannabinoid analgesics have generally been well tolerated in clinical trials with acceptable adverse event profiles. That's lingo for they're safe. Their adjunctive addition to the pharmacological armamentium for treatment of pain shows great promise. Okay. So this is another one that looks at control of pain with cannabinoids. So what this one showed was that when you combine, and we're going to talk about that the product that we're using isn't just a CBD oil, but it's a full spectrum hemp oil. And so what this study looks at is that there's 100-fold improvement with pain when you combine several of the chemicals that are in a full spectrum hemp oil versus just a CBD isolate. This talks about inflammation and oxidative stress. So the related non-psychotropic cannabinoid. And the reason they say that is that one of the drugs that is found in marijuana is THC, which is a psychoactive. That's what makes people high. But they're saying the CBD portion, which does not make people high, may interact with the endocannabinoid system, but has actions that are distinct, offers promise as a prototype for anti-inflammatory drug development. Okay? So we're seeing this over and over again. This one looks at gut inflammation. So I'm just going to read the last sentence. It says, our results therefore indicate that CBD indeed unravels new therapeutic strategies for treatment of inflammatory bowel diseases. Again, I'm not making any medical claims. This is just what the research shows. Anxiety disorder. This research study shows that we found that existing preclinical evidence strongly supports CBD as a treatment for generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, social anxiety disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, and post-traumatic stress. Okay. All right, and this is the last one that looks at some research that shows that the endocannabinoid system being stimulated has an effect on what's called apoptosis. Actually has some very possible implications for people that are going through cancer. So, okay, and cardiovascular issues. So we're seeing that cannabidiol has beneficial effects with disorders of wide range, like I put up here, colitis, cancer, but also is of benefit with the cardiovascular system. Okay. I could go on for 3 hours just going through the research here, but I'm not going to do that to you. Also, I mentioned blood pressure. Here's another study that looks at that. In this particular study, CBD reduced the resting systolic rate by 6 millimeters of mercury. Hard evidence at last with epilepsy. Is Janet here tonight? Okay, so I might have you later talk about that. So one of the problems with some of the epilepsy drugs is some side effects they have, but CBD is showing really good potential results with this. And then antibacterial. And honestly, when I was doing my research, this is one I didn't know about, but this particular study showed potent activity against MRSA, which is a huge issue.
Hi, I'm Howard Schiffer, the president and founder of Vitamin Angels. I'd like to personally thank our friends at Zalise for helping us make an impact in the lives of mothers and children around the world. But don't just take it from me. See for yourself what you've helped us accomplish.
In the past year, you've helped us reach 61 million.
61 million! 61 million children and moms.
Expand our reach to 1,200 field partners. 1,200 field partners.
In 74 countries.
74 countries. 74 countries around the world and every U.S. state.
We're excited to be expanding our prenatal multivitamin program, and we're doing that in an effort to prevent newborn deaths related to micronutrient deficiencies.
Together, we will reach millions of women and save lives on a global scale.
And we'll keep working to give every child from the day he or she is born the chance to lead a healthy and a productive life.